Hi everyone. So here we are in the Cengage MindTap textbook. And the view that you have might be a little bit different than the view that I have because I'm an instructor. And so, for instance, you won't have a class average here, but you will have recent activity and scores and those kinds of things. Okay, but when you log in, and that's where we are right now, and I will make announcements about hopefully how to get into the book and log in and that kind of thing. So look for those in a different announcement within D2L. Okay, but once you get logged in, this is what you're going to be looking at essentially. Okay, again, there might be some features that you see here that are for instructors and not for you. But there are two essentially views of the book. Right now I'm in a calendar view, week 1, week 2, week 3. And that can be really helpful in terms of just organizing you in terms of what is going to be due for that week, okay? It can be a little bit deceptive in the sense that week 1 there's 0 activities because there's nothing due, but there's a bunch of activities that are due week 2 that are all going to be due, on some date, okay? So this is for the particular semester that I was making this recording in, but I'm going to be making announcements in D2L saying, okay, this is when your next homework assignments due, this is when they're due, and I'm going to say here's the hard due date, but here's the target date that I'd like to have these activities done in, okay? But the calendar view can be helpful in the sense that it does give you an idea of when things are due and at what time, okay? So the other view would be this, and you can see I'm opening and I'm collapsing and opening these things, but the other view would be essentially this. And this is just an outline, okay? So, for instance, we have Introduction to General Chemistry. There are 7 activities. Then there is Chemistry, Matter on a Scale. This is Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, all the way through this. Okay, now, the only thing that I would caution you about this view is that currently our class presents Chapter 10 out of order, okay? So, for instance, Chapter 10 comes after Chapter 4 in terms of due dates. So you'll jump from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll go down to 10, and then you go 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's the order in terms of due dates that we're going to be presenting stuff. Okay, all right. So keep those in mind. Now, the nice thing about the outline is that it shows you things that are not due as well. All right. So for this, it only has things that I've set due dates on. This has other things in it. For instance, this General Chemistry Pre-Course Survey, which I would actually suggest that you take, or a quick prep for general chemistry, okay, and a math review. So these will be available to you at all times. I would take this right now, and that will give you an idea of where you are in terms of the content from, let's say, your high school chemistry class. Okay, so that would be a good idea. The other thing would be like this, okay, Introduction to General Chemistry. Certainly I would suggest that you do this. System setup, do this. Navigating the system, do this. Answering questions, right? And this will kind of give you an idea of how to get through not general chemistry, but the textbook, okay? So this is more content-based, okay? Math review, for instance, we're going to be doing lots of math. Quick prep for general chemistry. This is all content-based, and then this is really more how to use the books, those kinds of things, okay? And I would suggest do all of these. In fact, I would suggest do all of these in the first week, okay? Now, let's go ahead and go to then things that are actually going to be due for a grade, okay? So this would be chemistry, Chapter 1, Chemistry, Matter on the Atomic Scale. So let's go ahead and open this up, and what you'll see is a bunch of activities. And you'll notice that some of them say counts towards grade. Okay, so each chapter will have homework that you'll be doing for a grade, and these are all the activities. Again, I'll list these in an announcement in D2L. In fact, these will come on my Monday morning announcements, and I'll tell you this is when these are due. And the target date for getting these particular activities is something like this. Okay. But this is the hard due date that I'll give you. Okay, so but the target due date I give you is to try and keep you on pace, so that you don't come to that due date and say, oh my gosh, I have 30 activities that I got to do, or 20 activities, 25 activities I got to do, and I got an hour to get them done. You're not going to get them done. All right, so I'm going to give you suggested due dates, but then I'll give you a hard due date. Okay. But in any case, you go ahead and open up these. Let's go ahead and just, open up this one, classifying matter on atomic scale. I would suggest go through these right in order, but let's just do this one, okay? Because I know there's quite a bit of content in this one, all right? And this will give you an idea, the overview, and then you can go ahead and start activity, and then you can go ahead and read, right? This is your textbook. And you can read and like, oh, this is really important, I think, and so I'm going to highlight that, I'm going to put that, and then I'm going to add a note or make a flashcard out of that, so you can do all sorts of those kinds of things within the text, okay? And you can read these things, but eventually you're going to come to this, and this is where our homework comes from. You're going to get something like this where it says count towards grade, and so you're going to want to do this, okay? And this is going to be an interactive figure, and so you want to say, okay, well, I want to open that figure, okay? And I say interactive figure, explore the composition of elements, all right? And I can click on this, and I can see actually depictions of what this looks like, these things look like on an atomic level, okay? And then it gives me this. It says, this picture shows a sample of 5 different elements: sulfur, magnesium, tin, copper, and silicon. Click on each to see an atomic scale view of the element. Answer the questions the following. Okay, and then you click on this, all right, and you're going to now start to answer the questions. There are going to be 6 questions that you have to answer. And so it says, okay, click on sulfur. This element exists as rings. How many atoms is each sulfur atom bonded to? So let's click on that and say, oh, okay, so these represent the atoms, and these are the bonds between the atoms. This element exists as rings. The question is, how many atoms is each sulfur atom bonded to? Well, that one's bonded to this, and that one's bonded to this, so I'm going to say 2. Okay, submit. Awesome, I get it correct, and that's, on we go. So continue. Now I've got 2 of 6 here, okay? And it says sulfur exists as rings. How many atoms make up that ring? So I can count those up, and I can say 8, and on I go. Okay, so, and I'm just going to keep doing this. Do you think it'd be possible to form rings with different numbers of atoms? Yes, I do think that that's possible, and I can just keep going through these, and I need to go through these to finish this activity. Now examine magnesium. Okay, so we have to go here. Does it appear to have atoms bonded to just 1 or 2 other atoms like we saw in sulfur? No, it's very different than that. So we submit that. Yep, correct. Okay, and you just keep going. Okay, now examine 10. Does it appear to have atoms bonded to just a few atoms? So we need to go to 10. Okay, it looks like magnesium, just a few. So it looks like it's bonded to many atoms. And we can just continue. And I want to get this done, right? So finally, look at it. Silicon. Okay. Simply from its molecular structure, would you expect silicon to be a metallic element like magnesium, or an element like sulfur, which is not a metal? Okay, well, considering it has these covalent bonds and depictions like this, I'm going to say it's not a metal. Okay, that's true. Okay, all right, now look at this. So all of a sudden here, I come up here and there's a current score of 5 out of 10. Okay, I've completed 50% of the activities for this particular 1.2a activity. Okay, so I need to come down here. I need to read, go through this, and then come to my next one. Now, in this, and this is going to be lots of these, okay, you'll have an example problem. So this is example problem 1.2.1, and it will give you the problem, and then it will give you the solution, and then it will also give you a video of one of the authors telling you how that solution was come to. Okay, and then you can say, oh, okay, so that's the sample problem. I can then say, oh, okay, well, I want to do my own problem. All right, and it says classify each of the following pure substances as element or compound. Right, this is a very similar, if not identical, problem to what was just worked out, but it's of course different elements and compounds. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just, I'm going to get these. I'm going to just say all these are elements. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, so, and then I'm going to check and submit answer, and it's going to, it says, wait, an error has been detected in your answer. Check for typos and miscalculations before submitting your error. And you think, well, I think I've got it right. Maybe, I mean, this is a warning, so you might want to go back and do that. But let's just go ahead and say, okay, submitted. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, there's the error. Okay, so I got this one wrong, and it even tells you incorrect. This is a compound. Okay. Now, you have 3 options here. You can say, try again, right? Just give me a new problem, let me try again. Or you can say, tutor me, or you can say solution, all right? So let's just do tutor me. This is where you want to do this. This is the learning of this, okay? And you want to go ahead and and look through this tutor, and then you say solutions, and you okay, so I think I made my mistake. I get what I was doing wrong, and you come and say, let's try again. Okay, so for some reason it jumped me out of this. Okay, so it jumped all the way to the top for some reason. But in any case, I'm gonna come here and say, okay, what is this? Okay, I learned my lesson. This is an element, and this is a compound, right? So check some, right, I got it right now. I'll come up here and it says, right, 10 out of 10, you've completed this. So we're done with that, okay? And I can come back here and it will tell you that you've completed that on your gradebook, okay? And then you can go to the next one and you can just continue to do these. Now, each of the sections, so this is 1 to A, 1 to B, 1 to C, each of the sections will also have a mastery section, okay? My suggestion for these ones, is to do these before listening to recordings in the class. Okay, so there will be recordings in the class that you can listen to that will take you through the content. This is essentially reading the material before listening to those recordings, okay? And those recordings are going to be, go through all the material, and I'll also post helpful YouTube videos on the things that I know are challenging for students. But then, after that, you want to check and say, okay, have I really learned it? Let's come to the mastery, okay? And the mastery then is going to go through each of those sections that we had, right? So this section, this section, this section is going to give me problems for each of those. So I'll come to mastery, okay? And I'm going to go here, and in the first one, in the mastery, there's 6 total problems. It says I have to get 2 of these questions right, okay? And it says classify each of the following pure substances as an element or a compound. So that's very similar to what I did last time. And let's just do this. Let's just get it wrong, okay? Let's say I'm going to say are all compounds, and it's going to give me that error again. But you're going to be stubborn. And you're going to say I'm going to submit it anyway. Okay. All right. So that's incorrect, and that's incorrect. Darn, I missed those ones. What do I do? All right. So you read through this and you figure this out. Okay, and you say, okay, well, I get actually 5 attempts. This group attempt 1 of 5. All right, so I've already done 1 of 5, and so I can do another one. So let's regenerate group, and I think I learned my lesson this time. Ooh, I recognize that one. And I'm going to say that's an element, and oh man, that's 2 different things. It's a compound, and that's 1 that's an element. Okay, I submit. All right, I got it right. So great. Now I've got 1 of the 2 required, so I need to go to the next one. And I don't like that one. Maybe I'm going to go to this one. Okay, but I got to get 2 of these right, and so I think I can do this one. I got an element here, I've got a compound here, and then I got an element here. I'm going to submit my answer, and all right, now I've marked that complete. I've mastered that. Okay, I can go back and do this for sure, but I don't have to because I've mastered that. Okay, and then I go on to the next one. Okay, and then I go to the next one until finally I'm done with these things. Okay, all right. So now the other thing I forgot to do this, I recognize what's going on here. I come back here and I've got this. I got the oops. I didn't submit this for grading, and notice it didn't save it for me. So I got to come back here and I got to go through each of those things. And I meant to mention that to you because I did this, but I'm going to go through this. And I'm going to do the whole thing again, and at the end of that, I want to make sure I submit it for grading. Okay, and it will tell you, well, I got 10 out of 10 points before. That's when I want to submit it for grading. So make sure you do the submit for grading. And once you do that, like if I do that, are you sure you want to submit that? Right? It'll tell you that you didn't get the right grade. Okay, so that's the one thing I forgot to tell you. Make sure you submit for grading in each of those things. Okay. And so that's how you're going to go through your homework. All right. So let's go ahead and stop right there. I'm going to make another recording that will go through some of the other features of the textbook, but this is going to tell you how to get through the homework. Again, I would say this: do these things, counselor's grade, before listening to like lectures and videos, and then do this one after you do that. All right, find out, have I really mastered the material? Okay, right.